What up, Beyond the Gates fans? It is a Monday, so we are looking at Monday, June 2nd, 2025, and we're going to go over today's episode probably fairly quickly. I think today was a two-story show, at least for me. And yeah, also, let me, per usual, say that if you want to support the channel, you could support me on Patreon, patreon.com/OCG watching old soap operas there. But today we are discussing Beyond the Gates, per usual. And I might as well start with the character of Sharon. Like I said on Friday, from honestly the moment I forget the actress's name. I think it's Bonita Brisker. Hopefully, I'm right. From the minute she walked in on Friday, I was sold on the character. And with her giving it to Anita today, it was everything I wanted from this character, which I've been saying for the past 2 weeks. This is what I was hoping for, and this is what I got. I like that Anita finally has a rival on this show, for one, because as I've said from the beginning, Anita and Vernon get on my nerves with their whole fakeness. They have their image that they always want to be concerned about, and that's basically it. So I've always found the characters fake. I've said that from almost day one. So it's nice to have an older character who's a little more real and getting real with Anita. Some of my favorite lines from their confrontation today was Sharon saying she doesn't need permission to be pissed from Anita, and that Anita's always standing prim and proper because she's still trying to be in charge. And that is the Anita we have come to know in the 3 months of this show. All about her image and always trying to be in charge. Even from the beginning, she was trying to be in charge of Danny, who was going postal, and Anita wasn't happy about that because it wasn't good for the family image. So the whole story that they're building is that Anita and the record guy Dante seem to drag Sharon and Tracy's names through the mud back in the day with the articulates. And Anita played it off like she didn't know all of what Dante was doing. She didn't know Dante had all these rumors and lies about Sharon's drinking going around. But I guess the big thing that they're building is that Sharon seems to have a secret on Anita. Now, this show loves their secrets. We had Leslie and Eva holding their secret over Ted's head. We have this Martin secret that has been going on for what seems like forever now that's still not coming out. And now we have another secret of Anita's. So I'm just hoping that both the Martin secret and this secret is a good one. They need to be good secrets if we're going to keep building up secrets on this show. I guess the other secret was different, Leslie and Eva's, because we kind of knew about it fairly right away. It was just the characters on the show, Nicole, Ted, the Dupree family, didn't know the secret. But with these two secrets, we, the audience, also don't know the secret. So yeah, to me though, when they come out, they gotta be good. So I guess all in all for this storyline today, I'm Team Sharon versus Anita. Anita has been written as like a bitch at times. You know, it's funny because Leslie and Kat are always calling each other a bitch, but Anita can sometimes be looking like the biggest one on the show, at least the way they are writing her, whatever this big secret is that she did in the past, and her being so cutthroat to be the articulate that got famous. So a big win for me where Sharon is concerned. Now, I complained about the cat story on Friday and how it was just so convenient that she found what could be the jacket that Leslie was wearing, and there was all these receipts in it. And then today she wants to bring that to Jacob so Jacob could look into it. First, I need to complain about the Jacob side of the story. Because where in the hell is Jacob's partner, Malone, that was built up for weeks of being shady, possibly working with Joey? Jacob didn't like working with him as a partner, but suddenly Jacob could just work on this case all by himself. It's starting to make me think they dropped that whole story, which is actually kind of disappointing to me because it was definitely far more interesting than anything Derek, Ashley, Andre related. Even more interesting than anything June related. More interesting than Naomi almost going against Ted, which story was dropped. So, like, I hope they didn't completely drop the story because I do think the whole dirty cop aspect of Jacob's job, with his own father possibly being involved, was actually being built pretty well, but it has disappeared from the show. So I don't like that Jacob is working on this case without his partner out of nowhere. His father is nowhere in this storyline either. And I also don't like how Kat seems to be the one that's always gathering the evidence and not Jacob himself. Although I suppose that is to be expected from a soap opera cop. I mean, they're always kind of bumbling fools. Not that Jacob is being a fool, and he is always calling Kat out for, doing too much. Like today, when Kat is talking to Mona about Leslie, Leslie walked in on them. That happened on the end of Friday's episode too. Leslie finds out that they're talking about her. Nicole shows up too. They're all getting into it with Leslie about the jacket, and Kat trying to throw it in Leslie's face. And I do like the dynamics between Leslie and Kat because Kat low-key does get on Leslie's nerves, but Leslie kind of plays it off all the time. They both have good lines about each other. And like I said earlier, they're always calling each other a bitch. And Leslie always wants people to refer to her as Miss Bitch. First Ted, now Kat. The best line of the day, though, was Leslie calling Kat Nancy Drew, because that is completely how they have been writing Kat. Like she is right in a Nancy Drew novel. But Jacob didn't like the fact that Kat touched the jacket and the receipts, and her DNA and fingerprints might be all over the evidence now. But I don't know how she was supposed to find the receipts without touching them. So yeah, but it seems like it's coming down to some sort of computer software that Jacob might be able to get a match for the jacket and the video of Leslie on a motorcycle or whatever. I think it could be written more interesting if Jacob's partner was involved in the story, to be honest. Later, Leslie does confront Eva about the taking things from her apartment, which also happened on Friday. And it's good to see Eva finally standing up to her mother, because the aftermath of the anniversary party, I was sitting here and saying, I can take Eva being a victim for a while, but I really going to need her to get a backbone sooner rather than later. And she has discovered her backbone again. And I'm happy to see that. So her standing up to her mother, hiding the evidence, the helmet and gloves that she took from her mother. She tells Leslie that she didn't take them to help Leslie. She took them so Leslie wouldn't be tempted to throw her under the bus again. And Eva even threatens Leslie that Leslie's going to have to stay on Eva's good side for a change. So love to see that from Eva. Earlier in the episode, before even Leslie got into it, Ted gave her a visit. Ted is trying to be the stand-up man. That is the way they are writing new Ted, is that he's a good guy who wants to be a good dad to Eva because he missed out on all of Eva growing up. So that's nice and all. The most interesting thing from those scenes, though, was Eva's description of her mother, how Leslie is able to convince herself that the reality in her head is actually reality, but it's really, just delusions. I like anytime a character is talking about Leslie's psyche, because I am interested in what makes Leslie tick as much as some of these characters seem to be interested in that. The only other big thing today was once again when Chelsea and Martin were together and Martin and Ted were together. The random guy that's been following Ted around was there once again, this time as a bartender. He also hid from Ted, which is interesting. So maybe Ted and him know each other somehow. But I hope that story gets somewhere. The Martin story in general, I needed to get somewhere. Please get somewhere. Let's see what y'all are saying in the chat. Ronnie says, I believe that Anita didn't know about the NDAs that Dante had Sharon and Tracy sign. And that Ronnie also thinks that Leslie planted the leather jacket and the receipts. If you're still in the chat, Ronnie, why do you think Leslie planted them herself? As for the Anita side of things, I do think Anita probably didn't know everything that Dante might have done. But I don't think Anita's going to come out of this story with her hands clean. And I hope she doesn't come out of this story with her hands clean, especially if there is some secret being held over her head by Sharon that Sharon might allegedly tell Vernon. Kaiwan, what are you saying? Let's see. You're busy on Mondays. You love my videos. Thank you, Kaiwan. Andre is getting on your nerves. Andre does get on my nerves too sometimes. Well, anytime he's involved with Ashley is really the only time Andre gets on my nerves. Samuel, what's up, Samuel? You're saying definitely glad Eva's seeing Leslie for who she really is. Yes, me too. And I'm also glad that she got a backbone, like I said. Samuel also says, yes, move the Martin story along. Yeah, with the Martin story, I don't necessarily need the secret to come out like right now or anything, but I wish at least the Martin and Smitty relationship would be written a little different in that Smitty could finally, much like Eva today, like get a backbone in that relationship. That would be a movement in the story that I would like. Or this guy following him around, that can make the Martin stuff more interesting. So yeah, getting the secret out would be nice, but just some movement in the story in general is what I would need. Let's see. Ronnie says, I think that Leslie is trying to make sure that no one trusts Kat. Oh, that's interesting, Ronnie. So she's trying to make Kat look crazy when she's really the crazy one. I can enjoy that because Kat can be the uppity one that gets on my nerves. I wouldn't hate that, Ronnie, at all. That's good speculation. I hope maybe that's true. Samuel, you don't obtain that amount of wealth without others being collateral damage, Anita. Facts. Anita, I don't want to group Vernon in all the time with Anita, but he has been fake at times too. The fact that they've used Bill many times and that they're afraid of Bill makes me think that they have a lot. Their hands have been dirty in many different ways, not just Martin's. I think Anita and Vernon have done their share of dirtiness. All right, I do gotta go. I didn't have a lot of time today. Wanted to jump in and do this though. Thanks for joining me in the chat though. And I will be back tomorrow. Wednesday is going to be tough for me though. So I will at least be back tomorrow though to talk about tomorrow's episode of Beyond the Gates.